me tonight. They got to see me.
I think if you got a guy like that, you build like that, 6'4", guy, you got to trust.
Everybody watching tonight. So I tell you what, if you get fired into the next, you're in the wrong business. We control this. We run this. And anybody coming out of the house,
they got Jordan Davis last season. They bring Fletcher Cox back in Philly. So I'm sitting there like, we need to put something on this offensive line to combat that. What is going on? Welcome back, everybody. The 11-5 Dallas Cowboys are headed on to take the 4-12 Washington Commanders on over in Maryland. So this is a game that we have to win. It's a control your destiny game. Who would have thought Philly would have dropped an egg against Arizona last week and given us another bite at the apple, man? This is the game for home field advantage in the first and second round if we can advance. Talk to me a bit about how you're feeling.
Yeah, man, look, we got to come out here and take this one, man. Really, I'm looking at that 13.5, right? And you know, it's weird. I got a weird feeling it's going to be a little bit closer than that. But, you know what I mean? You get news that Washington is planning on obviously resting a lot of veterans and things like that. So I think they're fully in tank mode. And then with them having the opportunity to get that number 2 pick, you just kind of look at this and think back to the Lovie Smith situation with the Houston Texans last year when they had the chance at the number 1 pick. And, you know what I mean? He won that game and got fired. And look, they ended up lucking into CJ Stroud anyway. I don't think, you know, the new regime over there in Washington is even giving Rivera this chance. They just ready to cut ties right now. Rest your guys. Brissett, just mysteriously, his hamstring is hurt once he comes in and he plays well. So they put Sam Howell back in there. I think they fully expect to just come out here. I don't expect them to lay down. Obviously, they probably want to get a good look at some younger players. And I'm hoping they don't lay down. I do want a good test. As much as I want like the flawless victory and things like that, I think it's something special in itself if you have to be a little bit battle tested and still have some things you got to work out in the process of that, man. So I don't know really what to expect from this game, but I would like to get a blowout, but I do want it to be a close game. I guess up until a certain point, and then maybe, you know, second, third quarter, we can start pulling away from this one.
It's tricky, too, because I have a strong feeling. Obviously, this will probably be Ron Rivera's last game in Washington. I assume we get that news by Monday afternoon, win or lose, right? So where do we go from here? And it's kind of hard in this game as well to dive into the numbers. You don't really know who's playing and for how long. If we go up big, like if we're up 2 tubs at the half, Mike might just pull, Dak Prescott. But and some other starters as well. But 13.5 is a lot of points, especially in a divisional matchup. I think I agree with you. I think I would take Washington plus 13.5 here. And I think that line is actually sitting at 13 now. So I think that means there's some money coming in on the Washington side.
And truthfully, man, I think it's this weird balance, right? Like you said, man, it's like you want to really rush some guys, and we do have some key guys that's injured, and you just sitting there wondering, like, with the Tyler Smith injury, obviously you hear about the torn plantar fasciitis, and if it's torn, and it's a little bit better than just it lingering around and the pain tolerance and things like that. I would like to rest them extra week if we could do so, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if they get in Deron Payne and Jonathan and Allen out those guys, do I think Bass can come in and hold his own against those guys? Sure. I don't. Obviously, he's not to that level, but he's definitely starter. Worthy. Not starter worthy, but he could come in and fill in when needed.
Yeah.
I like him. And then you got the Lau Collins news. We'll dive a little bit deeper in that. But you also got some young players you want to see, like Asim Richards and some of these younger guys that we have. And Matt Waletzko, I don't know if he got activated from that window, but they trying to figure things out amongst this offensive line, right? And then not only that, you think about Hankins, he's working back. I'm hearing he's limited as well. I do want to rest up, but I do want to gel at the right time. It's that weird balance, man. And you see a lot of teams starting to rest their guys. You see the Rams, and it makes things weird this week where they're resting guys at San Fran, and then you see Lamar Jackson is out. I like to go into the playoffs gelling. And trying to just hit all our cylinders at the right time, man. So I would like to rest some guys, but I also would like to come out here and put our foot to their neck if we can.
It's crazy, too, just to hit on that Rams game real quick. We got Sam Darnold versus Carson Wentz, week 18. Who would have thought it, right? But, I mean, we can hop into these keys of victory and kind of talk to them a little bit here. Obviously, we need to come into Washington. We need to focus on this game, right? Don't look ahead to the playoffs. Take care of business. This win is going to be of the utmost importance, right? It's going to secure that home field advantage in the first round, and with a victory, let us have that home field advantage in the second round as well. Work out the kinks. We saw McCarthy. McCarthy, I think, had one of his worst coaching jobs in that Detroit game
Yeah.
last week. It was bad. It was embarrassing. But luckily, Dan Campbell had one of his worst ones as well.
Hey, for sure. And just the time management and, just the way, I think he controlled the game up until that point, and it was kinda like one of the earlier things, like, I guess you could say in his career with Dallas when he started off was one of those things, you know what I mean? And I think it kinda reared his head again, and I don't think, um that was, I guess you could say, his best foot forward, and then especially at that point in time when we really, really needed that one. So luckily, Dan Quinn did what he did. I don't know why he didn't take the extra point, but look, I'm thankful for that. We needed that. Obviously, Philly drops it to Arizona, and the rest is history. And we firmly in place to get this number 2 seed. And look, we'll see those guys again. I'm pretty sure of it. Whatever's going to be the opponent, right? We don't know if it's going to be the Rams or it's going to be Green Bay. But we haven't played Green Bay this year, right? But outside of San Francisco, we've pretty much beat every other team that's in this playoff run right now. So I'm feeling confident. Washington, they've played better ball as of late. Mostly with Jacoby Brissett. They even stuck around with the 49ers.
Mhm.
A lot of guys is out, obviously, but it's a team that you can't sleep on. They do have, the talent there. But hey, man, somehow he hasn't looked nearly as good as what he was early in the season, man. And I think he finally hit his peak. He's hit that wall, and I think Washington is ready to move on as well. Now, I think he'll be there, but obviously, I think they're ready to move forward and go get a franchise guy if they can.
And don't forget either, this game last year was the Sam Howell coming out party, right? Sam Howell balled out week 18 against us last year. Probably would secured him the starting job going into the season. But it's crazy because you don't want to go out in this game and, blow our load headed into the playoffs. So it would be nice to see some Cooper Rush. Washington is a first half team, man. Like they'll stick with you until about halftime and then they kind of hit the snooze button, right? But
Yeah.
how hard are they willing to play for a coach that they know probably won't be there come Monday morning? So the effort, like, I mean, really, it's kind of like a tryout for the next coaching staff. So
Yeah,
I
I think
expect,
I think the whole staff gone. Eric Bieniemy included. Whether they
yep.
get a head coaching job or he may just go back to Kansas City. I think they miss him over there as well, but I don't see him like obviously taking over after Rivera's gone. I think they'll definitely just go ahead and clear shelf and restock the shelf on this one.
But I don't know. It's tough because you don't really know in this game who's going to play in for how long. But we know we have the better team. We know we have the better coaching staff. It's just kind of like work out some kinks. Practice some plays in real time that you may not be able to practice at full speed in practice, but don't give up your hand headed into the playoffs,
Yeah, I
right?
was I was thinking that you don't want to show too much. But you do want to, I guess, continue to do what's working like CD. To be honest, like we know the secondary. I don't know what the numbers at now, but they've been amongst the worst in the league since the season started, right? So I think you continue to come out there right away. Dak early downs. I want to feed CD again. Let's keep that connection in full motion, right? Let's see a little bit more Brandon Cooks, but I want to see a little bit more Kavontae Turpin as well.
Hmm.
That speed and what he brings to the table. I was so excited like mid-season and being able to see him finally get incorporated, then it just seems like he just kind of disappeared these last 2 or 3 weeks. And I would like to see him back involved. So maybe a good game to see him. Rico has been dealing with injuries. Maybe we see a little bit more Deuce Vaughn this weekend.
I think Deuce got
It's weird.
moved to
Oh, he did.
IR.
He did
Yeah,
go to
yeah, yeah.
IR, which is okay. So he got the call, and then weirdly enough, we heard we was in the Devin Cook market, and then they made some practice squad signings, Lyell, and then they also got your boy David Wilson, who I did like in his time in Dallas, and then I gotta think of the guy name that they signed on the practice squad, but running back from Seattle, but
The,
obviously
the
they
dude with the
obviously
dreads,
yeah, what is it? I'm not even gonna try, man.
Sirac.
Ciroc, let's call him Ciroc.
Sirac. I bet you we see a lot of Sirac this weekend.
Hey, you never know, but it's just weird that like it's something they feel they missing. But would have been nice to have, I guess you could say Zeke on that goal line right now, right?
Hmm.
But it just goes to show you we're still fine tuning things. We're still trying to show up everything before we get into this run, and then that one thing happens and we don't have anything like I guess you could say, in place. We don't have any insurance. So that's the only thing. I don't know what we can expect from Lyle Collins right now. I don't expect him to come in here and be a world beater or be a starter. I think the best case scenario is we don't see him. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, let's hope we don't have to see him. But I think it's cool to get a familiar face in the building for on both sides, right? And then let's just, like I said, let's just hope we ain't got to see those guys. And if they do get in, maybe it's just a thing of just getting there and getting some reps in just in case. And that's it. That's all I want to see from those guys.
That's why I don't really expect them to feature TP too much. I think Sirach will probably get a lot of the workload in the second half. I mean, if this game is close, I just don't want to see Dak getting killed out there, man. Aiden Hutchinson was all over him last week, hitting him with the hip drop. But let's let our guys be healthy headed into this playoff run, man. It's the quest for 6, as always. But I do want to real quick pull up the NFC landscape because there's a lot of fun stuff going on this weekend. So obviously San Fran is pretty much, I think they locked up the 1 spot, but we got to win to keep that 2 because I think with a loss and then a Philly win, our best bet is to finish the season 12-5. Which is crazy, bro. McCarthy has been lights out as far as the win-loss total since becoming head coach.
It's 12 wins, 3 years straight.
That's crazy.
That's a hell of an accomplishment, man. And especially coming from that Jason Garrett era where it was always like so middling, you know what I mean? And then how many times we remember, in the past where it came down to these last couple games of the season, it was like, dang, we hoping for this team to lose and maybe we can get in like that. But we already clinched, man. And that in itself feels good, but it's a lot of scenarios still in play. Which obviously, as long as we take care of business, I don't really think you can kind of sit here and hope that you play this team or that team. I'm looking at all of them, right? Like the Rams are hot. They've been playing good ball. They're not the same team that we played earlier in the year. Neither are we. Neither are we. I must say, but I think that's a good team over there. McVay is always that. He's that character that he can just put out all stops when it's time. So, and then you have another guy from that trend, LaFleur, and I think Green Bay is playing well. Jordan Love is playing better. Sneaky team over there, and Jones is getting healthy. You never know. We know what Seattle brings to the table. And then, like I said, outside of that, it's probably your most 3 likely teams, right? And then you just don't know how it's going to shake out. So it just is what it is. I think you're going to have to beat the best to get there. We probably will see Detroit at one point. I don't foresee us playing Philly. Who knows? It could shake out that way. But, obviously with San Fran sitting at the top, I think we all just are just glad to get that home field advantage, man. Let's bring this thing to Dallas, and you never know. Maybe they get knocked out ahead of time, and we may just get this NFC Championship game right at the house, man. Shout out Jimmy Johnson, too, for breaking the curse, man, getting that ring on.
Hey, man, absolutely. No, so looking at this, right? So would you rather be the 2 seed and host Green Bay or go on the road to Tampa Bay in the first round? Because I think Philly can beat Tampa. I really do. I think Philly's a mess, though, if I'm being honest. Something ain't clicking. And your boy Sirianni ain't really living up to expectations.
No, I love it. Oh, man. You don't know how happy I was following that, just seeing there and just watching all of the Philadelphia Twitter just implode. And I enjoyed that part of it just for how much they talked and just realizing that a team like that has major problems. But to answer your question, I think like I said, it's two-sided. Like, who would I rather face? I would like to play anybody from the NFC South division. They just there by default. But if we're talking about the path of it, I think home field advantage is one of those things where you got to have. I'm not trying to go on the road and have to play Detroit or Philly because who knows, they might just turn around in Philly. The referees get involved in Philly. You know how that go, and then you still got to go to San Fran. We're gonna have to go there regardless. So I think I'm confident, man. I think we'll do fine. You know what I mean? And some of these teams we're gonna have to see anyway. But who knows? Tampa Bay just may knock Philly out. You know what I mean? Mike Evans and those guys against that secondary. Don't just pencil that one in like Philly just gonna come in and control business. I feel like they should. But I mean, hey man, they haven't looked good all season long.
No, that's right.
They just been scaping by.
I think you remember last year, Minnesota was the luckiest team in the league as far as those close games. I think Philly is that team this year, and that's kind of crazy. Losing your coordinators, man, that takes a toll, which is kind of why paying Dan Quinn has paid off in the long run, it seems like.
They remind me of like the Pittsburgh Steelers of a few years back too. Remember when they was like 10-0, 11-0, and then like they got their first loss, and once they
Crumpled.
finally, they just crumbled. You know what I mean? And uh, a lot of problems, right? But who's this is what I would say, right? People would say, well, we don't know about Dallas at this point of the season. There's still questions. It's questions about the only team that doesn't have a question to me is the Baltimore Ravens.
Right.
In this run, and we don't have to worry about them to the end. And they got some people they got to go through too. I mean, outside of who they're going to play, I think Cleveland, a divisional matchup with them could be interesting, and Buffalo. Outside of that, I think they wiping everybody. But within that, what I'm trying to say is, San Fran, like they still got questions too. Baltimore, we just seen what they did to them. You know what I mean? And even the defense and the secondary, is holes in there.
Hmm.
Good team. Obviously they got weapons all over the place. It's Shanahan. So, but it's still questions, right? Purdy, we never seen him be a quarterback that can come from behind. So what happens in the playoffs?
Shanahan can't come from behind.
And we still haven't really seen Purdy in the playoffs yet, to be honest.
Right.
You know what I mean? We still haven't seen it. He got hurt and it never happened. So we still gotta cross that bridge, right? Philly, questions.
Hmm.
Detroit, are they ready to get over the hump? Questions. Rams, still questions. Anything you could think of on this side is questions, right? Nobody is flawless. But us at home, shit, we flawless this year, right?
Right.
We undefeated. And I just want to keep that streak continue, man. Let's go 5-0. I think it's 5. I think I'm counting them right. We got this one, and then what was it for? Is it 4?
Week 18, wild card divisional.
5. Well, 5-0 for the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Let's go.
man.
Let's
That's
go
what we
5.
need too.
I ain't counting 4. We counting 5, man.
And let's do it
And
for Jimmy.
hey, look, man, it's been how many years, and he should have been in there. And it was cool, CD breaking that record. When he broke it, I
I,
know you asked me that question. He was like, you think he break? I was like, I don't think I see these. I don't see CD going for 180, man. But I'm not saying it's out of the question, but man,
City was like, watch this. Here's
snap.
215.
CD is unbelievable, man.
He's a
And
beast.
then what is that? 8 straight games with a touchdown.
Yeah.
Probably gonna be 9 straight. He's playing like top 2 right now. And just looking at that list and saying that he surpassed Tyreek Hill, it's crazy that he's leading the league in the receiving categories right now. And then I want to talk this offseason, but Jerry might have to pull that Brinks truck up, man, because he got a lot of guys just balling out, in a pivotal season right now. But
Yeah.
yeah, shout out to CD. I will say they might say Tyreek Hill missed games and different things, but CD set out how many fourth quarters. so
Right.
if you add that thing up, man, it probably amounts to the same thing, man. So shout out to him for breaking all the records and you know what I mean, stamping that, man, for Dallas, man. Hell of a game.
You want to talk Pro Bowl?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
So we got 7 bodies headed to the Pro Bowl this year. Obviously, the Pro Bowl ain't what it once was, right?
Nah,
They
I
put
don't
flag
want to see none
football.
of these guys play.
Nah, they do the what is it, like the dodgeball, all that. Micah
Yeah.
outran Tyreek, whatever. I'm sure we'll see that rematch. But hey, we got some new faces, we got some old faces. Dak Prescott, well deserved. CeeDee Lamb, well deserved. Zach Martin, duh. Micah, yeah. Deron Bland, that's a new name. Brandon Aubrey, first year in the league, first year in the Pro Bowl, man.
Beast.
Uh,
Dope fall, bro.
looking at this though, right? We've got a solid team. We got what, 3 guys on offense, 2 on defense, 2 on the special teams, man. And not to mention, man, in Brandon Aubrey's success, don't forget Brian Anger is his place kicker, right? So shout out to him for keeping the laces out, all that stuff. So
Shout out to Bones Fossil too, keeping those
hey,
guys ready.
absolutely. But I mean, in a year that doesn't seem like it was Micah's best year, it is nice to see him get the nod. Looking at this though, I think we got some snubs, right? I think Fergie absolutely should have been a Pro Bowler this season coming out of the NFC. I think Tyler Smith played his best football. I think he was the best left guard in football this year. And I think those 2 were well deserving of a Pro Bowl spot.
I I will agree. For the most part, right? Tyler Smith definitely all pro season, and it's weird we about to say this, right? So I think we end up with the second most Pro Bowlers in the league. We had 7. I believe the Ravens had 7. Only body that had more was San Fran. That had 9. And truthfully, I felt like we could have had 9. And the 2 that I would add to this list for me was Tyler Smith, but also DeMarcus Lawrence, and
For sure.
a crazy underrated year. probably the most underrated player on the team, to be honest. And he had a hell of a year. It don't show up as far as the sacks, but just think back to the last game in Detroit and how impactful he was, and he's been that guy all season long. So my two would have been obviously, like I said, D-Law and Tyler Smith. I do think Jake Ferguson had a better year, but I do think that Laporta, I think he deserved it. And Kittle is weird, man. Everybody on that San Fran team, he had a hell of a year. He set some games out, but Kittle is Kittle. I think he got that by face value.
I agree. I agree with that completely. But it's nice to see 7 guys, man. You mentioned Bones Fossil. He's got that special teams working. Dan Quinn. I mean, actually, you know what? Deron Bland, man. Shout out to him, man. He's had a phenomenal year. What is it, 6 pick sixes or is it 5?
Six, six.
Six.
I believe six was the record.
NFL
I
record,
think
six
yeah,
pick
yeah.
sixes. And I think his last one was Thanksgiving against Washington as well.
It's crazy. I mean, he might just go ahead and add to it this week, man. And it's been quiet. And but I don't think quiet is a bad thing, right?
No.
Like with Seattle. Obviously he had that game, but ever since then he's been quietly just putting together just a nice little teams are not targeting him, and when they target him, he's not really letting anything go past him. So Deron has had a hell of a year. What an amazing draft we had that year, right? Yeah, you spoke of Ferg and Deron Bland, and all of these guys came out the same draft, which is crazy.
Hmm.
And you know what I mean? That's crazy enough. Tyler Smith in there as well, man. All of these guys, man. Great staff, and then you think about the Pro Bowl, man. It just shows the play development of the Cowboys, which I love. But let's get this one out of the way.
Yeah.
It's tough. I'm just here for the ride, man. And you know, I want to know, does this year feel different to you? They always go by the slogan of "Oh, we ride this roller coaster," and you know, what will go wrong. Like how are you really feeling heading into this final stretch, heading to the playoffs?
Brutally honest, right? And I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer. I don't feel like I felt the last 2 years, man. I thought those teams the last 2 years were clicking on all cylinders. This team, I don't know if it's like heartbreak, expecting some disappointment, but I hope they prove me wrong. I don't know who the best team in the NFC is. I think it might be San Francisco. They got a lot of bodies and they're not paying a quarterback much money, right? I hope Dallas proves me wrong. We're going to hopefully secure some home field advantage, man. And even if we do, I think at a minimum, we got to meet up with San Fran in the NFC Championship to call this year a success.
And I'm excited to do so. I know a lot of people are scared, right? And I get it, man. And you know, what I mean, that's a team that knocked us out 2 years in a row. Obviously, they gave us the beat down early in the year, but I always spoke about how important that game was, and I don't think we're the same team since then. I must say that, and generally we play them close. And something's got to change. I don't know, like maybe the Jimmy Johnson thing and all these different things, and Dak is finally playing. I think some of his best ball, and the only thing that's different from these past years, I would say, right. And I guess it could hold true a little bit, but it's not as bad where it was like, you think about years past, it seemed like, oh, the offense was clicking, it was having a hella run, and the defense was playing good, and then at the end, one of them will fall off. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? It'd be like, man, what happened to the defense? Y'all, all of a sudden, y'all letting up 40 a game. And then Dak will have to go into the playoffs and carry those guys. Or you think about that San Fran game where, the defense was playing its best ball, and then Tony Pollard got hurt, and then the offense couldn't carry us, but the defense was still playing some of the best ball. They shut those guys down, man. But I think we got a chance to exercise all those demons. Like, whether we get Green Bay, you get the McCarthy, that the whole aura around that, and everything that Aaron Rodgers did to us in the past. Maybe we able to exercise that. And the Rams, they knocked us out one year, and San Fran, obviously we know what happened with them. So it's some history within every matchup that we potentially gonna see.
No, I know that's true, but obviously we got to look ahead to Week 18. I can't believe the season's over. I can't believe this is the last preview of the regular season. That came and went quick, huh?
Yeah, man. I'm gonna be in the
But
house for this one though.
oh
I
yeah,
booked the day out. I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be cold out there, but I always like to be able to just come see them when they close, and it's always good to be Washington. And they're not the rival they used to be,
right.
obviously. But I will say this before we get up out here, I think things is trending up in Washington. You know what I mean? I was hoping that they could, stay with Sam Howell. I was hoping they kept Dan Snyder. To be honest, I like that they kept Rivera in place, right? But it seems like they got a new regime in place, and everything is just kind of falling in line back to back. They get the new regime. I mean, they try Sam Howell out. They kind of fall into this number 2 pick. And I think a head coach will look at this roster and realize, okay, we got a chance to come in here. I got a new regime that's willing to spend some money. I got a chance to get a franchise quarterback. I think it's trending up for them. I truly do. Giants, on the other hand, they got more problems, right? And then you think about Philly, like they got to pay some guys soon too. And
Yeah.
you swing something, and maybe it's from the second pick, they might trade up to the first, and they get a Caleb Williams in here. Look, we might be singing a different tune about Washington soon. So go ahead and tank for us. We'll appreciate that favor, but I do think y'all is on the upswing, and it's a lot better to be in its top 3, top 5 than going 8-8 and 6 and 7 games. And trust me, I hated that, because either you're going to the playoffs and you're messing up your draft picks, or you're not low enough to get those top picks. And fortunately for y'all, y'all be able to get hopefully a blue chip player out of this one.
For sure. But no, this is the End Zone Experience. I appreciate you all for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe. You got any final words?
Quest for 6, man. Appreciate y'all for tuning in. And like you said, like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned in. Hit us in the chat, man. And let's go ahead and get this dub. We out.